10th, 2019 has, oh, what did I say? January, not January.
school
The
year.
June 10th, 2019 Board of Education meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have any correspondence this evening?
We do have correspondence from Janine Cull. She's a 9th grade teacher, and she sent an email to inform us that her students finished a unit, a real world writing unit. So we perhaps could be expecting to see some writings from the 9th grade students to talk about issues that they would like to just address or see changed. And hopefully we'll have an opportunity to see those and eventually respond to them. So thank you to Ms. Cull for informing us of that.
Thank you. Any comments from the public this evening? Okay, we'll move on to our superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Lemmer. Just a few things this evening. I have quite a few personnel recommendations, but before that, I'd like to thank the high school staff, specifically Principal Wajenki and Amy Barcy, for a successful graduation ceremony this past Sunday. Also, thanks to the board for being there and participating and handing out graduation. I know that's always a great part of being a board member, being able to participate in that ceremony. So thank you to the high school and their staff for doing such a great job for that. I'm also here pleased to recommend 2 administrators this evening. First of all, Wilkshire Principal recommendation, Amy Frias, for the Wilkshire Early Childhood Principal position. Mrs. Frias was previously an MTSS and Special Education Coordinator for the Sarniac Community Schools, and she has served as Special Education and First Grade teacher for the past 17 years. So I'm going to invite her up for just a minute so she can introduce herself. Welcome, Amy. I put her on the spot, so she didn't.
I didn't really prepare anything, but my name is Amy Frias. I currently reside in Iona, Michigan. I've been in education for about almost 20 years, I think, at this point. I'd have to go back and count them all, but about 20 years. I am special ed certified. I am gen ed certified. I've taught first grade, like Superintendent Cook had mentioned previously, and I'm super excited about coming to Hazlitt in this role. I've had a great opportunity to meet a lot of the staff. I actually went to the building today and was able to sit down and just had some personal conversations with people and kind of got to know the staff, including some of the paraeducators, the cook that was there, some of the teachers, some of the special education staff, and they all seem like wonderful people. And I really look forward, as long as I have your blessing, to move forward in this role, to really leading that building next year and becoming part of that team. So, thank you.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you, Amy. And
By the way,
your husband?
I brought my husband with me. His name is Raphael.
So next up, I have the recommendation for middle school associate principal, Paula Dobson. Ms. Dobson was previously employed by the Durand area schools and was their middle school principal and special education coordinator. So welcome, Paula.
I'm Paula, like he said. A lot of what Amy said, I've already, like she said, I was going to say, but I have a background in special ed. I was a special ed teacher for multiple years, and then I took over as principal. We went to Michigan State. My husband, Mark, also went to Michigan State, and our 2 kids, Jack and Max, are here. But we love the Hazlitt area. When we first got married, I said we lived in the Moki Trails, and we just love this area. I got to meet the teachers and the middle school staff today and students, and they were all excited, and they're very, very friendly, and the kids were all into knowing who I was and why I was at the building. And so it will be a really good thing, and so I just want to thank you guys for this opportunity. And yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Paula.
Welcome.
So I'm in the receipt of 2 staff retirements. Judy T. Greeny, principal at Raleigh Elementary, effective June 30, 2019. Ms. T. Greeny has served the district for 20 years. So best wishes to Judy. I know she had a party along with Mrs. Hicks today, so that was a great celebration for the both of them. And then I'm also in the receipt of resignation for Adam Boyce, our high school choir director, effective June 13, 2019. Mr. Boyce has served the district for 6 years. Best wishes to Adam and his family, and we are going to very much miss him. He's been a great part of our choir program for the last 6 years. And then in addition to that, I have several teacher recommendations. I'm going to read through these. Cynthia Balazar is being recommended as a hire for chemistry teacher at the high school. She has a BS in math and chemistry from Northern Michigan University with an MA in chemistry from Central Michigan University. She was previously employed as a math teacher in Lansing, and most recently was a graduate research assistant at Michigan State University, and she also has been a long-term substitute in chemistry and physical science at the high school currently. So we're very excited about her. Ann Bloxam is being recommended for a hire at elementary teacher. We're not certain what position she's going to take at this point, but she's agreed to take whatever what's open. We have 2 positions right now, so we're still in the process of interviewing for the other position. She has a BA in psychology from Michigan State University and an MA in elementary education from the University of Phoenix, and was previously employed as a special education first grade long-term substitute for Hazlet Public Schools, and she's actually worked for us as a parapro prior to that. So welcome, Ann. Terry Langstaff is being recommended as a hire as an English and psychology teacher at Hazlet High School. Terry completed her BA in secondary elementary education with a minor in psychology from Saginaw Valley State University and her MA in curriculum and instruction from the American College of Education. She was previously employed as an AP Psych teacher and social studies and English teacher at Corona High School. And we're very excited about the fact that she's going to teach psychology and the possibility of AP psychology in the future for Hazlet High School. Philip Lepper is being recommended as a hire for a counselor at Hazlet High School. Phil completed his BA in psychology and business management from Hope College and his MA in counseling education from Western Michigan University. He was previously employed at Lansing Catholic High School as their guidance counselor and as a regional administration advisor at Lakes Superior State University. Courtney Runo is being recommended as a special education teacher at Hazlet High School. Courtney received her BA in special ed with minors in math and history and her MA in education technology from Michigan State University, and she was previously employed as a special ed teacher at Eastern High School. And then finally, Brad Thomas is being recommended for hire as a special education resource teacher at Hazlet High School, and Brad completed his BS in education with majors in special education and physical education health from Central Michigan University, and his MA in education from Mary Groves College. He was previously employed as a special ed teacher at Lake Orion High School. So congratulations to all those teachers, and we'll be recommending those for later in the meeting. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Superintendent Cook. We will now move into our discussion items. 1, 2, and 3 all relate to our budget, both our current year amendments and going into the projected 2019-2020. Mr. Jensen, welcome.
Good evening. So we're required by law to set a budget going into next year by June 30th, and this is the hearing that this is the proposal that we're doing for next year that will get passed, hopefully at next board meeting. We're going to go through actually this year's final budget first, and then we'll look into the 1920 original budget, and then I'll take any questions, or you can ask questions along the way if you have any. So this is this year's final budget for the June 30, 2019 year end. Not a real big adjustment from the last amendment. You'll see there that we're going to use about $88,000 of the contingency fund that we typically set aside to add to fund balance. It's just a slight increase of we had 67 at the first amendment, so this is just using a little bit more of that. We're hoping that we come in better than that, but at this point, that's where we stand. This is a look at the fund balance. You'll see I have a flat fund balance there, but as I noted on the previous slide, we're expecting to only use about 88,000 of the 250, so potentially add about 170,000, if not more. This is a look at the budget proposals from the state. The governor, the Senate, and the House each come out with their own proposals. The governor's come out with a foundation increase of 180 with some additional at-risk funds and additional special education funds. The Senate came out with a proposal of about 270 per pupil, nothing in at risk or nothing in special education. The House just came out with theirs late last week of $180 per pupil, no at risk or no special ed. And we are actually going into next year budgeting $180 per pupil. We had originally set our budget at 100, but once the House came out, I felt pretty comfortable being that was the low number for both of them. That I felt pretty comfortable going into next year that $180 is probably pretty realistic. This is a look at the enrollment projections for next year. We're going off the spring count, and we're using a 5-year retention ratio average, and based on those numbers, we're going to be down about 16 students going into next year.
Sorry.
Yes.
Can you go back,
Sure.
one before enrollment? Sorry, I wanted to one more.
One more? Yep.
Yeah. So where you have enrollment decline, retirement increase, so the net increase, even though,
Yes, these numbers here are the enrollment decline. That's a per pupil number.
okay,
But what 16 students equates out to is about $46 per pupil.
okay,
And then the retirement rate increase, 1.32 percentage point increase in the retirement rate. It's about $140,000, and that equates out to about $74. And then the hard cap increase. So the net increase,
right.
like you said, is right here, taking all those other into consideration, yes.
So even though it looks like a nice increase with the 180, what it actually equates to with actual operating dollars, like what we can do something with. is-
Right, with new money, yes,
Okay,
correct.
Thank you. I just want to make sure I was reading that right.
Yep. So this is a look at next year's budget. You'll see increase in revenues of about $400,000 and increase in expenditures of about $300,000. And we do restore the $250,000 in contingency, which going into next year, we're going to expect to add that to the fund balance. The revenue adjustments to get to that number are noted here. The foundation allowance of $180 per pupil is about $474,000. The enrollment decrease is about $120,000 decrease in revenue. And then the special ed increase, $76,000 there. That's the reimbursement we get from the state. And that's due to our special education expenditures increasing. We get reimbursed based on that.
Well, wait a minute.
Yep.
Sorry.
Sure.
Sorry, Rick.
Yes.
So going back to what Molly was just working through, when we get
Yes.
down to that $420,000 number at the bottom,
Correct.
we still have those other expenses, the
Correct.
retirement
Yep.
expense and other, okay.
Then as we get into the expenditure adjustments, we're going to have teacher reductions at Wilkshire, about 2.0 FTE, and that's based on the enrollment numbers going into next year. There's the MEPSR's rate increase, it's about $140,000. Wage settlements, there's the health insurance cap adjustment, $58,000. Then the other health insurance adjustment piece there is plan changes. When our rate changed, we had many people change the plan that they were on, which increased our expense. And then the 208 in the contingency here is I had originally had $100 in the budget, but once I saw the numbers come in, I put that additional amount in contingency. We're set that aside for any contract negotiations with our teachers that come about, or enrollment fluctuations and stuff like that. So I just put it in contingency now and we'll use it as needed for those items. Then the substitute teacher rate increased. What used to be 80, and we increased it to 90 this year. That was a countywide decision. That's about a $25,000 increase. And you'll see the contingency adjustment there, getting our contingency back to $250,000.
sorry.
Yes.
My turn.
Yep, absolutely.
So you've got the contingency 208, which is sort of the flexible money that we can plug in if we need to.
Correct.
What's the negative contingency?
That's because that's what we're expecting, and you see in the 18-19 budget, we were projected to use that much of the 250. This just puts that contingency back up to the 250,000.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay,
So the big
It's a negative expense, which means
Yeah.
it's going back in.
yes,
so the big increase on that chart right there is the fact that it's being reduced by 2 teachers. That seemed to be the largest adjustment.
adjustment in expenditure, correct.
Okay.
So going into next year, we're just gonna keep an eye on the budget. I know they each came out with their proposals, but it's a new administration. Not sure where it's gonna go from here. Not sure when we're gonna have one, but we're just gonna keep an eye on that and adjust accordingly. Enrollment, keep an eye on the school of choice. Our school of choice meeting is next week, and we'll have some better school of choice numbers then. And then staffing, obviously with staffing, we just keep an eye on the enrollment and adjust our staffing as needed. And then, like I noted before, we have negotiations with teachers, and we'll be trying to settle that going into next year, before next year. And then if you have any questions. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, well, flying through this, we'll go into board reports. I have finance facilities listed first. I know it's alphabetical.
Finance and facilities did meet, and we had quite a discussion about bullying policy and what we had on the books, what we had in the handbooks, and how we were implementing it, and some changes that we needed to make going forward. We had a detailed discussion about the budget proposals, closing out the current year budget and then looking forward to the new year. And at that time, Rick didn't have any house numbers. Those numbers came out
Big surprise.
the afternoon of the morning we met. So he did make some changes to it from what we had discussed on Thursday morning. And we talked about the property tax millage and our borrowing and a very, very modest increase in food service rates in the coming year. So we had a full meeting.
Great, thank you. Policy and personnel.
We talked about very similar topics, particularly with both our current bullying policy and what was in the handbooks, and along with the budget. And again, we were still looking at the $100, so it was nice to see a little bit more in there, although you hope it's not the lowest end. And also discuss the food service rates, recommendations going forward, and other activities going on around the district, especially around staffing and the administrative positions.
Great, thank you. Next is items from board members. I'll echo Superintendent Cook's congratulations to the high school staff, Principal Wajenki, and all the graduates and their families. As always, it was a wonderful opportunity to participate in that special day for everybody.
I was going to make a similar comment. This was my first time participating, and it was fantastic just to see all the students and their family and just getting to celebrate with them on that day.
And extending from that, just a congratulations to all of our building staff and administrators this end of year. I know there were multiple field trips going on the last few days and just kind of all sorts of excitement. So congratulations everybody for almost making it to the end of the year. You have a day and a half left, and just and thanks to all the parents who volunteer to help out with all those too, because these could not go on without that support.
And best wishes to those of our staff who are retiring and or leaving the district for various reasons. We wish them the best. All right, well, we are on our consent agenda. We have a number of items. Okay, now's my night to read, take a deep breath. As always, I'm going to read through these. If anyone wants anything pulled for discussion or questions, just let me know. Consent agenda item number 1 is approval of minutes from our May 13th, 2019 regular board meeting. Item number 2, approval of minutes from the June 4th Policy and Personnel Committee meeting. Item number 3, approval of minutes from the June 6th Finance and Facilities Committee meeting. Number 4 is the approval of new and revised board policies as have been read. We had our first and second readings. Item number 5 is a computer and monitor purchase recommendation, as was proposed by Mr. Casson previously. We have a recommended action of approving purchase of 149 Hewlett-Packard computers and 56 LED monitors. Approval of the Wilkshire Early Childhood Center principal recommendation. We had the opportunity to meet Amy Frias this evening. Approval of the Hazlet Middle School Associate Principal recommendation. Also had the opportunity to meet Paula Dobson this evening. Number 8, approval of personnel recommendations, as mentioned by Superintendent Cook, Cynthia Baltazar as chemistry teacher at the high school, Ann Blockson as elementary teacher, Terry Langstaff as an English and psychology teacher at the high school, Philip Lepper as a counselor at the high school, Courtney Runo as a special ed teacher at Hazlet High, and Brad Thomas as a special education resource room teacher at the high school. Number 9, Michigan High School Athletic Association membership with the recommended action of approving our membership in that statewide association for the 1920 school year. Number 10, the 2019 summer tax certification with the recommended action of the various certifications for homestead and non-homestead properties. Whew. And that was it. 10 action items. Anyone need anything pulled this evening? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve those action items. Go for it, Josh. You touched the mic.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I will second.
I'll recognize Molly. Second by Molly. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Next, we'll have announcements. Our next regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting will be on June 24th at 7 p.m. here in the boardroom of the admin building. And we have a regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting on July 22nd at 7 p.m. in the boardroom. So that is the 4th Monday. We skip the first meeting of the month due to the holiday. And that is our public agenda. We are looking at a closed session opportunity, and I would entertain a motion to go into closed session.
I will move that we go into closed session for the purpose of conducting the annual evaluation of the superintendent's performance.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Okay. Karen and Molly. We do need a roll call vote to approve this particular motion. So Ms. Gustafson, if you'd like to do the roll.
I will. Mrs. Palmaranto?
Yes.
Mr. Maury?
Yes.
Mrs. Lummer?
Yes.
Mr. Machado?
Yes.
Ms. East?
Yes.
Mrs. Collins?
Yes.
And Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Okay. We are in closed session. Thank you very much, everybody.